Additionally, policies also affect whether we retire or not. So there's an Age Discrimination Act which tries to thwart employers from just firing people just based on age, right? Ageism. But policies state that, like we showed earlier, that Medicare, you're eligible for Medicare at age 65. So when you are eligible, potentially that is when you would want to retire, along with Social Security benefits, right? You could quote unquote retire early and currently and get Social Security benefits at age 62. The early, that would consider early retirement. But if you waited 3 years later at like 65, then you would get more benefits. So, but we know the baby boomers, there's this huge wave. So there's going to be more and more tax on the system, meaning there are more people taking out Social Security and Medicare and receiving Medicare benefits than actually the money being put in. And this is a big issue that many are facing right now. And they try to, as we talked about before and other times, they're trying to change policies to reflect retirement, you know, as we see here again, right? That people who are born later, there's going to be policies to extend whether the actual minimum age to retirement to receive all these benefits. So there's certain circumstances that matter, right, in terms of personal preference. So what type of situation do you want to be in when you're retired? Do you want to be in a retirement community, or do you want to be in a home, or you want to age in place, living in your own house and adjusting that? These are also personal preferences to dictate where do you want to retire, right? And beyond the economy, right? We all know right now people are potentially getting shook because they might have to live. They have to live, yes, but they have to potentially work longer to be able to retire under their own accord. And work, there's this concept of either choosing to retire and being forced to retire. And a lot of this relates to the qualitative difference. A lot of research generally shows that if you choose to retire, you have better well-being outcomes compared to when you are forced to retire. And people are forced to retire because of multiple reasons. And this forcing, right? When you force anything, it causes, it's not part of the plan. So it's hard to prepare for it. And for older adults, they're either forced largely because of these health issues or health issues of their spouses. It's not just of themselves, but for others, they care. Being fired, or being mandatory retirement, these are also issues. Being forced really is detrimental to your sense of well-being. A lot of what it means to be human is to be busy and productive, right? When you just think of when somebody asks you, "Hey, what's up?" Right? The first thing I see that most people do is like, "Oh yeah, I've been busy," or keeping busy. So there's this kind of, in retirement, it's not different, because always keeping busy, it's like, oh, there's so much to do around here. There's keeping busy is becoming like a status symbol, and even when it's in retirement as well, this busy ethic. And busy is being equated, even though it doesn't necessarily mean it's being productive, right? When we talk about being productive, this productivity aging, we highlight this also in earlier lectures on these older adults who may be engaging in contributing to becoming grandparents, caregivers to, or engage in these volunteer activities and unpaid work. And older adults are a big proportion of the volunteer force in society, along with engaging in paid employment. right? And you could see, even if you go to McDonald's, you know, you'll see a lot of older adults being there and employed over there. And this is part of this bridge employment, right? They're still healthy enough to work, and they'll work right before they fully retire. And it also adds to their income level as well. So when you retire, right, you have to fill in that time, right? What do you do during the day? So the Bureau of Labor Statistics has this great time spent survey. And for people who are 55 plus, right, you could see here a lot of their time is spent in more leisure activities or sleeping. Not, you could see here that watching TV, I guess nowadays it would be Netflix, right? And then how they spend their day, most of it is either alone or with a spouse. And when we talk about how we spend your time, right, we have these two general basic well-being needs, right? Hedonic and eudaimonic well-being. When we talk about hedonic, right, we talk about in terms of retirement, these more pleasures, right? These in-the-moment pleasures, such as like hanging by the pool, right? Relaxing, or just feeling good, compared to these more eudaimonic, right? These eudaimonic are more of these like whether you are functioning at full capacity, right? Operating on all cylinders. It requires like work, meaning, purpose. These are the ones that have to do these eudaimonic concerns or well-being needs. Other periods in the lifespan, right? Other people just generally matter, right? And it's no different in retirement. And we see here by studies from Antonella Della Fara that family and interpersonal relationships really matter, along with work. And how people, it's strange because how people spend a day, right, on average for 65 plus is alone, as you see here in the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And we know that other people really matter too. With life really involves engaging with others. So other people really matter in retirement. And you could see here, right, of the dying, right, that losing touch with friends, right? This is one of the biggest regrets of people, because when people get older, right, their social circles grow smaller, and they might not be able to. Life happens, and they lose touch with the people they really want to lose. That they were close to earlier in the lifespan. And retirement, we know, is likely going to be when you are not at your physical peak, but at your physical capacities have declined. And the key is to adapt to that. And this is part of that SOC model of aging, right? Selecting, optimizing, and compensating, because just over time, our physical abilities decrease. And here's a little clip from Key and Peele, just to highlight in a comical way that clip from Key and Peele, just to highlight the discrepancies between physical ability and your potential. That's what I'm telling you. That's a good case of workability, right? In terms of, do you have the physical capacities to meet the demands of a position? So one of the keys, and what I highlight in this course, is this adaptive part, right? Certain things just don't go according to plan, right? Nobody plans to be physically decrepit or having health issues. So being able to adapt psychologically is one of the things that we can actually do, right? And why I highlight the SOC model of aging.